Hey everyone, and welcome back to All Things True Crime. My name is Bridget, and today is episode 2 in our series on Missy Lemerond. In today's episode, we'll be hearing from Missy's mother, Cindy. As always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. I'd also love it if you could leave some supportive messages in the comments for Missy's family. So I wanted to start at the beginning and know a little bit about Missy's childhood. What was she like as a child? Did she go through anything traumatic? Anything that you feel that impacted her later in life?
When she was born, I guess when she was little, she had whooping cough as a child and she almost died. She was in the hospital for I think 8 months, and she had whooping cough. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
But okay, well, she had that. She was in the hospital for probably about 8 months. She almost died. They didn't know what it was because she had the first case in, I don't know, 20 years or something. But so she was in the hospital for a long time, but she made it through it. And then, so I always thought she was like my miracle baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, she was just a quiet, shy little girl. She always was quiet but shy. She always said she was going to go to college, get married, and that's what she did. She went to college. She had straight A's. She was a straight A student on honor roll all the way through school. She never went to parties really. Never really got in trouble, maybe a little bit when her dad was murdered.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. That's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, so her dad was murdered in 2005. And that was really horrible.
She was a teenager?
Yeah, she was a teenager. It was right before she turned sweet 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you think that impacted her?
She was suicidal after that. She ended up in Brown County. It impacted her a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that happened in Mrs. Life she never shared with me. I don't know exactly when, but sometime after her dad died, and sometime between that and when she went to college, Missy was raped by a security guard who became a security guard, and I think he was either a security guard or a police officer. I want to say he was a police officer.
Wow.
And she never told because she didn't think they would believe her. So she never told. I read about it on Facebook probably a year before she was murdered. I was like, what? You never told me that. So I don't know. There's just things she didn't tell me. She kept a lot of secrets.
Do you think that her traumatic history possibly has something to do with how she was in relationships at all?
Yeah, Missy was also in some other relationships before Walter where I wouldn't say they were abusive to her, but they were I mean, Missy's dad was abusive to me.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He was abusive to me. So I had been at the Golden House when Missy was little, but Missy had been in some other abuse. They weren't abusive to her that I know of, but I don't know. She never told me. But they were guys that, well, one of them for sure I know went to prison, but she supported them financially, bailed them out of jail.
Missy has a little bit of a pattern of being in relationships that probably weren't as healthy as you would hope that they would be.
Right. And Missy went to college to be she was going to be a psychiatrist. She stopped at being she had a bachelor's in psychology.
Okay, that's good to know. I wasn't sure if it was psychology or sociology. Okay, psychology.
Sociology, I guess. Yeah, and something in
yeah.
arts. Yeah, and something in art she had. I don't a second in arts or something.
Okay.
And she was on high honors. I don't know how high, but she was all the way up there. And then she would have went on to school, but she stopped going to school so somebody else could go to school.
So, do you remember when Missy and Walter met? How old was she?
They went to high school together, so I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
exactly when they met. I think they met way before I thought they met, but they started dating when Missy was going off to college. He went to college with her pretty much.
And what were your first impressions of Walter?
My first impressions of Walter, I thought
Yeah.
he was a very nice guy.
As the relationship went on, did you see any signs of him not being a nice guy, of any signs of abuse or coercive control?
No, I thought Walter was the perfect husband.
And did Missy ever confide in you about any problems that she was having?
About a year before she passed away.
So, how long were they together for?
13 years.
13 years. So, it was only in the last year. So, she went 12 years with either not telling anyone or
Yeah.
things being okay, or do you know now that the whole time the relationship was going on, there were problems?
The whole time the relationship was going on, I believe there was problems. She put in her when she tried to get
The permanent restraining order?
the permanent restraining order, she put in there as far back as she can remember. He sexually abused her.
And
He
did
mentally
she?
abused her. She
Yeah.
never told me. I didn't find that out until I heard it on the news. I was sick
Oh
to my stomach.
no.
I
I'm
didn't.
so sorry that
Yeah,
you heard that on the news. That's
I did not.
awful.
Yeah, we did not know that until my daughter didn't know it until they showed her. Or no, she seen it on the news too because she was in Florida when she did that news thing.
That's awful. I'm so sorry you
Yeah, we
heard
did
that
not
way.
know that. Yeah, that's the way we found out.
So you didn't know until a year beforehand, but do you know if she confided in anyone else about what was going on?
She might have confided. I don't think so. She might have confided in her friend Allie a little bit, but I don't think so. Or maybe a friend or something, but I don't think so. I don't think she ever confided in anybody because honestly, I kept asking her. She told me he was controlling. She told me maybe the last year and a half, maybe not, maybe a year and a half or so. I had Missy had moved home a few times though. When Emmett was born, shortly after Emmett was born, she came back here to live. And I didn't think much of it. She said they came back from Massachusetts. And she said she needed to come back here and stay while Walter went to his parents and stayed till they found a house because they were coming back to live in Wisconsin. I didn't think much of it. One other time when they moved a lot. One other time when they moved back from Illinois, her and Emmett came here to live, and Walter went to Wausau to live with his parents. Now they lived here for, I bet you, 6 months. Her and Emmett. Walter only came here maybe 2 or 3 times in 6 months to see her and that baby. I was like, Missy, what is going on? Something going? Are you guys falling apart? You know, is he cheating on you? Is he? No, it's fine. But I knew it wasn't. Um, then I did think something was up, but she was very good at sticking up for him. She was very good at hiding it. But she was waking up at night. She was like having panic attacks. She told me it was like because her dad was murdered. She was stressed out. She blamed it on everything but her marriage. But now I know it was her marriage.
Do you,
I'm sure she was trying to leave him at that time, but he wasn't having it. And then she left here and went and lived in Wausau with him. He got a house, and right after that, she got pregnant with their second child. I mean, boom, like within a week. And then, but I mean, I had intuitions at them times. I guess I wish I would have asked more questions, but I thought if I asked too much, maybe she wouldn't have came back.
yeah, you
I
wanted to
don't.
keep it open. I think that was a really great idea because you don't want to sort
I,
of
I didn't want to isolate her.
yeah.
Walter one time blocked me from Facebook. He made Missy block me from Facebook. I did go to Missy's house though and pounded on her windows and doors till she did open the door and unblocked me from Facebook. I'm not the mother who just sits back. I think Missy knew that about me. No, you're not gonna block me from Facebook. I'm your mother, I said. He can block me.
Yeah.
You're not gonna block me, Missy. No, I'm your mother.
Yep.
You're not gonna block me. I really think Walter was scared of me. I mean, and he should have been.
So obviously, with that knowledge, then he would isolate her from everyone.
Right. Right.
And
That's
he
why he
did.
isolated her. That's why he kept her from us. Yeah. Her sister tried going there and living one time and he like threw a fit too. And then he moved back in. I
So
don't know.
she blocks you, you go over there.
Right.
Does he have
She
to
unblocked me.
Yeah.
He would hide when I went over there. I mean, I'm telling you, they were married for 7 years. In 7 Christmases, I seen Walter for one Christmas.
That's interesting.
Most of the time he was in the bedroom. Most of the time she would say he'd been up editing videos. He filmed weddings. If you look on YouTube, he has videos and stuff. He was up working, he was tired, or he was filming. She made excuses for him.
Yeah.
She always had an excuse for him. I seen him for one Christmas.
From what I'm hearing is that I wonder whether he intentionally kept himself away from you guys because you would have seen bigger signs of his controlling behavior. He's around.
I don't know if I just wish I would have paid closer. Yeah, maybe. I just wish I would have paid closer attention because I mean he dressed nice, he looked nice, and at times this is the worst part about it is my daughter was divorcing him. My daughter had left him and I got a package in the mail and she was at the Golden House, the women's shelter, and I got a package in the mail and it was from Walter. And I was on the phone with her when the delivery person, I said, Missy, what is it, a bomb? She's like, Mom, I don't know what the hell it is. Maybe you should open it. Well, just open it, she said. It can't be nothing bad, but I don't know what he sent you. It was an Afghan, a candle, and something else he sent me, but there was a card inside of it, something else. And he hand wrote the letter, hand wrote in the card about how good of a daughter I raised, how much he loved her, what a good job I did with her, how much he loved me, how much I meant to him compared to his, family. I really thought he was sincere. I said to her, Missy, do you sometimes just think that maybe, not that, I don't know, like, I thought maybe sometimes I just thought maybe, Missy, do you just think that he's trying to control you more than what you think he's trying to control? Because I thought he was sincerely apologizing.
Well, either he was or
he was that manipulative.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth.
He was that, and this is what my counselor tells me, Cindy, he was that manipulative.
Yeah.
He was that much of a narcissist. He had gaslighting and he goddamn manipulative her mother into trying to make her think that she was goddamn crazy and not him.
Because he also knew that you had power over her because, of course, you're her mom. And so if you're saying to, Missy, it's not that bad. Like, look what he sent me.
That's exactly what I told her. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What he was doing.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was. It was so, now I think back, it's so sick that I can't even believe that I fell for it. But my boyfriend.
No, but you wouldn't have known. Don't put that blame on you. Yeah.
And the guy I live with for 13 years never liked Walter. Has never liked Walter. Never has liked Walter. It's very interesting. He has told me since day one. I don't trust him. I don't like him. I'm telling you, it's never, he didn't think it was going to go to the extreme it went to. He thought, that, because Walter, before he did what he did, got in the East River, he pretended he was going to commit suicide. He did all this dumb stuff. And my boyfriend's name is Steve, and he kept saying, Cindy, he's just manipulating her. He's just trying to get you guys to pay attention. Well, Steve, we don't know what he's going to do, though. I have to go to her every time she calls me, I said.
Yeah.
And he just kept, but he never thought it was going to go where it went. But he just said, no, he never liked him. He was right.
Yeah. So when did she start talking to you about her problems with Walter? It was about a year before it
Year and a half.
happened.
I would say about a year and a half before it happened.
And was it you asking lots of questions, or did she sort of come out with it one day?
She started to tell me one day, she just said, out of nowhere, Emmett said to me, actually, she brought Emmett here for me to watch him. And when she left, Emmett said to me that, Babe, the black man, was at our house, but he moved out. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Emmett? So I was all confused because he was talking about Babe, black man. But I didn't realize Emmett called Walter Babe because that's what Missy called him.
Oh,
So when
okay.
Missy came back, when Missy came back to get Emmett, I'm like, Missy, are you having an affair? Because who's Babe? And who the hell's moving out? And what the hell's going on in your house? But Emmett was at the age where he was starting to talk.
Yeah.
They stopped letting Emmett come to my house.
Yeah.
Because he was starting to talk. And then Emmett started to tell me, like there was a, so then I said to her, well, what's going on? And she just started to say little things, but I really started to pressure her into telling me. And Emmett said, like, one day I ran in my room and I shut the door and he stuck his hand through the door. What do you mean he stuck his hand through the door? Well, Missy started crying. I'm like, Missy, why are you crying? She's like, well, Mom, he did it by accident. And was like, oh, no, hell no, Grandma. He did not do it by accident. Hand came right through the door. He was screaming and yelling. And Missy's like, Emmett, just stop. And then Emmett would stop. But
So how long after she started confiding in you did she tell you that she was going to leave him or divorce him?
she left him and tried to divorce him. I would say she left him once in Wausau and she moved to the other apartment building next door. And then he couldn't handle the days that she gave him the kids, so they got back together. And then shortly after that, she moved here. And she said she was actually done that time. And that was a year before she died. So
How did she sound after the last time?
and then then she moved, and after she moved here, she moved to Green Bay from here, and he followed her from Wausau. He then moved to Green Bay. They then got back together. He got an apartment, and then within a month, he ended up moving back into her house in Green Bay. Then after Christmas, he ended up moving back out.
So
And
around the
then,
beginning of the year is when things sort of start to
right, and
change a
around the
little bit.
beginning of January is when she told him, when he left shortly around Christmas, after Christmas, he wasn't there at Christmas time, and she told him, if you move out, Walter, this is it. It's final. It's over. We will never get back together again. This is it. And he left. He rented a house. He bought a brand new car without asking her. I don't know how you buy a brand new car without asking your wife. I'm talking brand new car off a car lot.
Yeah.
He was very bipolar, very just would do things like this. And then he moved out, but he wanted to come back. He always wanted to come back. And she told him no. But she was, I don't know. Like she never she told me, like she never told me she was scared of him. Like she said he would control her, but she never said she was scared of him. Like she told her stepmom, it's more or less her stepmom, the person that was with her dad for 17 years or something. I don't know exactly how many years, but she was at her house probably the week before, I think, and she wanted her boyfriend Johnny to walk her to her car. Missy did, because she was scared because she thought Walter might be out there watching. she was scared,
She
but
was
they
scared.
didn't like. She was scared. It's like that, Missy. Why? I don't know why she didn't tell me she was so scared of him.
Because
I would
she,
have went to her house,
yeah, because you're
but
her
she
mum though.
knows that would have. She knows I would have came there. She knows I would have said I would have made her come here. She had been at the Golden House. She went home from the Golden House because her kids, they weren't happy there. They were, you're in one room at that shelter. It's hard to keep two little kids in a room. Missy also had COVID when she died, which that is not what killed her, but they did tell me she had COVID. She was very sick there. Her kids were very sick. I mean, it's hard to keep two little kids in a room very sick, and you're sick. It's hard to take care of two little kids being that sick. When she went home from Golden House, though, they gave her some cameras, which I think is wonderful. They gave her cameras, but she tried to hook them up. Her friend Justin tried to hook them up with her. They hooked them up. They didn't work. They got her two new cameras, but they were never hooked up. I think Golden House needs to help women hook up their cameras.
I agree.
The director from Golden House has not called me back. I've called there 3 times. I'm very disappointed in Golden House because I think the director should call me back and listen to that. I think they need to help women hook up cameras. I don't know how they want you to go outside, hook up cameras when you're scared of the person you're hiding from with little kids. Now, how are you supposed to do all this?
No, I agree.
I'm not saying, I'm not blaming Golden House that Missy got killed. I'm not blaming Golden House at all. But if the cameras would have been hooked up, Missy would not have opened the door that morning.
Yeah.
He probably still would have killed Missy at some point because he was who he was, and I think Walter was very suicidal. He was
So
bipolar.
talking
He
about
was
that a
very
little
he
bit
was
about him being
um he was very
suicidal.
they said he had been in Brown County. He kept saying he wanted to, like, he got in the East River or the Fox River, one of the rivers, that he was threatening suicide. He kept telling Missy he wanted to die, but he got out of the mental hospital with less than 24 hours against doctor's orders. I don't know how you quite do that, but he did. He got medication, he got counseling, but from what I've been told, every time a counselor told him he was a narcissist or he had gaslighting, which I don't know a lot about gaslighting, he would switch to a different counselor.
Yep, that
He would
makes
want
sense.
he would want a new counselor because he didn't like what the marriage counselor told him. He wanted a new counselor, so then he got a different counselor. Then that counselor told him he was a narcissist, so then he got a different counselor. Then that counselor told him he has narcissism and gaslighting. Well, then he got a different counselor. Well, Walter, how many counselors are you going to get?
Well, I think
So,
because then what happens is then the
right,
counselor understands how someone with that has narcissistic tendencies or is a narcissist, they know how
right,
they work, and so then Walter's
right,
not able to manipulate the counselor, so
right.
the game's sort of up a little
And
bit.
so I think Walter was very suicidal, but he was not going to let Missy live and um not have her.
Yeah.
There was no way. There was no way on this earth. Because I mean, I remember Missy telling me when she was at Golden House that her and Walter were sitting on the floor one night after they put their children to bed. They read to their children, they put them to bed, and then he was scaring her. This was before she went to Golden House. He kept saying over and over, or after, I don't remember. He kept saying it was after he got in the river. He said, I would have never called the cops on you, Missy, and said you were suicidal. I would have never done that to you. So, can't believe you did that to me. Da 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 da. And I would never hurt the boys, but he would not say to her, I would never hurt you or myself. He just kept repeating to her, I'd never hurt the boys. And when she said that to her counselor, because they had a marriage counselor, that's when her counselor told her, Missy, you need to go to the women's shelter. You need to go get help because he is going to hurt you. I'm telling you, he's going to hurt you. And then Missy went to the Golden House, I think the next day or the day after that. I don't remember.
How long was she there for?
I want to say at least a month, if not longer.
And did she have any contact with Walter during that time?
Well, when he called her and he wouldn't leave her alone. And when he followed her in Green Bay and would pop up behind her out of nowhere. And Green Bay is a pretty big city. To just somebody pop up behind you out of nowhere, he's following her. You just don't pop up behind somebody. Because like Emmett is 7, he was 6 at the time, and I was looking for the Children's Museum one day, and it used to be in downtown Green Bay. So we were driving down there and whatever, and then he said something to me about his mom driving down there. But my daughter was looking for it one day too, my other daughter, Shelly, and he said, "Oh, this is where Walter just pops up behind us." She's like, "Well, Walter's dead." But I'm thinking he meant, behind his mom.
Yeah.
Because Walter would do that. I mean, I would be talking to Missy on the phone. She'd be driving on speakerphone, and she'd be like, "Oh, there he is again." "What do you mean, where he is? Where is he?" "Well, in my rearview mirror." But she never told me, "Mom, I'm scared of him. Mom, I've told her a million times, Missy, I don't think he's gonna hurt you. I think he's just I just think he's trying to freak you out, or Missy." She never said, "Mom, he has a gun." She never said, "Mom, I tried to get his gun removed from him." She never told me that. If she would have told me that, I would have went to her house with a gun. I mean, yeah, that doesn't sound right, but I would have went there. She knows I have guns. We hunt.
So
I don't know.
in like mid-March, she files for divorce and the restraining order. Do you think that was triggering to him?
That was triggering to him, because then he did his whole getting in the river. He did a video, but you can't see the video, where he was walking. He was saying she stole his kids. He did this whole big thing on Facebook. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. It was triggering, trust me.
So I think in...
And it went fast. I mean, from March to April, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it escalated a lot.
It escalated, yeah. And he made a video. If you look on YouTube, there's a video called "Looking for You," or the last video he made, I don't know what it's called. Missy tried to get it removed. She asked her lawyer to ask his lawyer, because when she was at Golden House, he made a video, "Looking for You" or something. It's the last video he ever made. He rapped, he filmed. But in that video, there's a girl walking past the window. That girl looks like Missy. At the end of that video, there's a portrait of Missy that he had somebody draw of Missy. He made that video while she was at Golden House hiding from him.
Wow. I've seen that video, and without that information, it was still chilling.
Right. And her lawyer, her divorce lawyer, said to her, when she said that to her, "Missy, he knows he's getting divorced. He realizes he's getting divorced, and he's okay with getting divorced." After Missy died, I called her lawyer, because her lawyer was gave to her through Golden House. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Called her lawyer, and I said to her, "The next person you are given, you're a lawyer for through Golden House, don't tell them that their husband knows they're getting divorced, because do you think Walter knew he was getting a divorce now? Do you think he was okay with getting a divorce? I don't think he was okay with getting divorced." Missy cried on the phone to me that video was not going to be removed, and that her lawyer believed Walter was okay with getting divorced. He's not okay with getting divorced, because if he was okay with getting divorced, Missy would still be alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think a lawyer should tell you that unless they really know it.
So Missy filed for a restraining order and for divorce mid-March, right. And within weeks, horrifically, she was killed by Walter. Do you remember much about those weeks?
No, just that she would call me a lot crying, and I'd ask her why she was crying, and she'd say she was stressed out. The kids were stressing her out. The kids were fighting. She was tired, and I thought she was tired. I mean, Missy worked a lot. She had a job as I don't know, she ran an office. I don't really know what her job title was. It's on Facebook. But she ran an office. She had a big job title, kind of. She was trying to work. She was trying to take care of her kids. Emmett when she moved to Green Bay. So, okay, that was like March. So the August before that, when she moved to Green Bay and left Walter, left Walter, moved to Green Bay, Emmett started having seizures, and they said they were due to stress of her, not her, but due to stress, they said. He had seizure activity in his brain, but stress caused the seizures. So she felt very guilty. That's why I think she took Walter back a few times. They got back together is because Missy felt guilty. She felt overwhelmed. It's a lot to take care of a 6-year-old that has seizures and a 2-year-old that didn't talk. And she was a single mother. Emmett had bad behaviors. He had been kicked out of 2 daycares. She tried putting him in daycare. He went to kindergarten the year that she moved to Green Bay. Emmett had never really been to daycare before that, never been to school because, Walter didn't let him really go anywhere. So they kept him at home. But when they had to work, and Missy was single then and trying to live on her own, he had to go to daycare. He had to go to school finally. He had to go to kindergarten. But Emmett had bad behaviors. So he had been kicked out of 2 daycares. He was kicked out of school a lot in kindergarten, suspended a lot. They were doing an IEP on him. They did do an IEP right before they died. But I think it was just a lot. Very overwhelming.
Do you remember the last time you spoke to her?
The day before she died.
How was she?
She was crying. At one point, she was crying, telling me she was stressed out because the kids were fighting. She was supposed to come to my house and have a cookout, but she decided to stay home. But yet she was happy because I had bought her a grill the year before for her birthday, and she had never gotten it to work. And she got it to work, and she was grilling out, watching her kids play, but yet she was crying and telling me how tired she was. But I realized now she wasn't tired, like she wanted to go to sleep. She was tired of her life. She was tired of Walter. She was tired of being manipulated. She was tired of being controlled. She was tired of having to probably answer his phone calls, answer his texts, because I have like lots of letters here. And I have not lots, but some letters and text messages that I've read that she printed off where he would text her sometimes 200 times a day. Are you goddamn kidding me?
Yeah.
Somebody text me 200 times a day, I'd be tired too.
She didn't block him or consider that?
No, they told her she couldn't block him in court.
Right. Yeah.
Because they had children together. He was only to text her, though, about the children, but Walter didn't listen.
And it's not like she could go to her lawyer either because her lawyer thought that Walter was accepting of the divorce.
Yeah. So, when she said something, yeah. And his lawyer thought he was accepting of the divorce too. And Walter, when the other thing I wanted to say is when Walter went to the hospital and threatened that suicide and stuff, Walter filed for a divorce first. Not for a divorce. Walter filed for a legal separation. He got out from the hospital, went and hired a big lawyer and filed for a legal separation and filed for sole custody of their children.
He did that just before she did it. She announced it to him.
Yep.
She told him, and then he did
and then
it first.
He ran and did it first, though, through the courts. Yep. And when she was at the courts filing, though, my other daughter was here from Florida, and she posted a picture of them standing in front of the courthouse. My 2 daughters and her 2 kids standing in front of the courthouse. Walter showed up at that courthouse within seconds. He was looking for my daughter somewhere. Yeah, he showed up at the courthouse within seconds of my daughter posting a picture. My daughter, when she was at Golden House, never posted a picture. After that, we weren't allowed to post pictures. Like if I went and met her in Green Bay, because I would meet her, like at the Children's Museum, Chuck E. Cheese, I wasn't allowed to post pictures till I was at home, because otherwise he would just show up.
When he showed up to these places, would he talk to her at all, or was it just him watching her?
Yeah, sometimes he would be pounding on her windows of her car. He would show up at her house when she was getting the kids out of the car. You know, you're bent over in the back seat of your car now, I remind you, trying to get a kid unbuckled, and he would tap on her shoulder. Well, she would just about jump out of her skin.
That's awful.
And he would park his car where she could see it, so she had no idea where the hell he was parked. The day that he killed her, his car was not outside her house.
So, speaking about that day, can you take me through how you found out and the aftermath of that?
That morning, I got a phone call from a police officer telling me that he was somebody from the Brown County, I don't know if he said Brown County or the Green Bay Police Department, and asked me if my son or my daughter lived in Green Bay. I said my daughter, and he said, "We need you to come by your grandson's." I said, "Where's my daughter? We can't tell you that." I was crying by this time. I said, "You need to tell me where the F my daughter is." He said, "I can't tell you that. You need to come by your grandsons." He told me they were at a place called Willow Tree. They were safe. They would be there. I needed to come to them. He told me the address. I told him I need to drive 50 some miles there down the highway. And if you're not going to tell me where she is, I need to know where she is. You need to tell me. He would not tell me. I said, "You understand I need to drive there by myself down the highway? Ma'am, you need to calm down. You need to drive safely," whatever. But I ended up, whatever, driving down the highway by myself because the guy I live with was burning. I don't know if he was burning leaves. I don't know what he was burning in our yard, but he had a big fire going in our yard. A little boy that I watched sometimes was on his way to our house. I had a gut feeling that something was wrong because the police officer would not tell me she was okay.
Yeah.
I got in my truck immediately. I don't even think I combed my hair. I don't even think I combed my hair, but I just got in my truck. He told me to drive as safe as drive safe, Cindy. Stay off your phone. Drive safely. I got in my truck. I drove. I mean, it's like 50 miles from my house to Green Bay. I called a friend of mine that's like my mother. She's 70 some years old. I told her, I just know something's wrong with Missy. I just know Walter probably killed her. I don't know Cindy. Her name's Cindy too. I said, I'm on my way to this place called Willow Tree. It's across the street from House School. The boys are there. I have to go to the boys. I don't know. I was crying hysterically. She said she'd meet me there. I don't really remember much else besides calling her
Yeah.
and driving there. When I got there, I walked in and Emmett and Avante were, I think Avante was sitting in the chair maybe. Emmett was playing in a room on some toys. They didn't even usually when I seen them, they ran to me, they hugged me, they kissed me. They did not do that. They just kind of looked at me and didn't even acknowledge me.
When was the last time you'd seen them, the boys?
A few days before that,
Okay.
maybe just 4 or 5 days, maybe the weekend before that.
Yeah.
Not very long. I was seeing her like once a week at least, Missy and the kids. I seen them a lot once she, was at Golden House and stuff. So I had just seen them. And the police had gotten my phone number. Emmett has seizure medicine. And on that seizure medicine, Missy had her name listed, Walter's name listed, and then my name listed as emergency contacts. Thank God Missy had that on there. In the refrigerator, I think they found it. But that's how they got my name and phone number to call me. But then I don't know, really, honestly, I don't know if I think a police officer told me that Missy was dead, and I fell to the ground and I just cried and cried and cried. But I knew on the way there that she was dead.
Makes a difference though when someone actually tells you
Right.
that.
And then they told me Walter was dead, which I don't know. I didn't even really care, I guess, that he was dead. And it's awful to say, but they didn't tell me how they were dead. And then they asked me if there was anybody they could call. I guess because I was on the ground and I couldn't stand up. And I told them that they needed to call the guy that I live with, Steve, and they called him. And he called his mom, and his mom came here and got him, and his dad came here by the fire, and him and his mom came there, and my friend Cindy meanwhile got there. Meanwhile, CPS took me. CPS was there, which is Child Protective Services, was there. They took me in a back room. They asked me a bunch of questions, which I never would have even crossed my mind that I wouldn't bring Missy's boys to my house to live. So they just had me sign some. I don't know if that. I don't think I signed papers there. They asked me a bunch of questions there. They said they'd follow me to my house. They had to check my house. Meanwhile, my friend Cindy came. She told me that Walter shot Missy twice and then shot himself. I really freaked out because the police did not tell me that. I think it's awful that the police did not tell me that.
I'm trying to think if there is a reason. So
I think it's,
did your friend find out through the police or through the media?
yeah. No, she found out through the police.
So
But
they
I don't
didn't.
know. When I asked the cop, I called him and asked him, he thinks that the police that were there were young. He said, and it was just so, he said, I'm not making excuses for them, Cindy, but we will try harder next time. I don't know. I can't imagine what they walked into. I mean, they did a lot of good things for them boys. They cleaned them up because I'm sure they had blood on them.
No.
Emmett said that the police cleaned them up. Yeah, and they thought Emmett had really long hair because Walter controlled so much. Emmett's hair was past his butt. He never got a haircut till he was 6 and he lived here. Never got a haircut. Now his head is shaved every like month and a half. He gets a different haircut. He doesn't like long hair, but he
Oh.
was never allowed to get a haircut. They thought he was a girl when he came out. They asked him where his brother Emmett was. He said, I am Emmett. They said, huh? I don't know why they didn't tell me. I don't.
I think maybe because you were in such deep grief
Right.
and shock, they might have been concerned for your health. Maybe that's the only thing I can think.
Maybe, and I'm older. I'm 53, I guess, almost, but I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I also had to call my daughter. My daughter at the time lived in Florida. I had to go outside and call her because when I found out that it was he shot her, blah blah blah, shot himself, it was people were saying it's on Facebook right now. Well, I had to let my daughter know before she found out on Facebook.
Yeah.
She's friends with his brother. Even though they had broken up, she was friends with him still. People were saying people knew where they lived. People, my cousin. I mean, I'm not very close with my. I'm closer with my family now, but I hadn't talked to some of my family for quite a few years. But a cousin of mine told my aunt that's Missy's house. Missy's dead. Well, Jesus, people in my family knew Missy was dead before I practically knew Missy was dead because her friend's brother was friends with Missy and knew that's where Missy lived
Because of the media posting about it?
because of the media posting.
Okay.
Yeah, so social media, I mean, is the devil to some people.
And did you have any media reach out to you?
I had media reach out to me. I had my daughter talk to them. I talked to them once with my daughter. She was in Florida. I didn't talk much. My daughter did. Emmett said on the media, I think on one of them, I think he said my dad killed my mom when he was sitting on my lap. I don't really remember it. I don't really remember the first month after my daughter was killed.
No.
It's I don't really remember. I don't remember. It's weird.
It's because your brain's protecting you.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And so the boys came to live with you.
The boys came to live with me immediately that day, and they've been here ever since, and they'll be here till forever, I guess.
And how are they doing?
They are doing very well. The littlest one he's 3 now. They both had a birthday. He's 3 now, and he did not talk when he came. Emmett's 7 now. He was 6, but Emmett says that Walter slapped Avante in the mouth. He would wake up and Walter would be slapping Avante in the mouth. From what I can guess, Avante would be crying for Missy, and Walter would slap him because he was crying.
That's
So then
heartbreaking.
Avante must have just quit talking because he got slapped when he made noise or cried. I mean, Missy loved Walter to the end. That's the sad part. I'm sure she loved him right to the last moment of her life. I
So
have a letter where Missy wrote to him and said she wanted him to be somebody who told her, he loved her, and he wasn't that person. That's where I was going with that. What Missy would tell her children she loved them, she hugged them, she kissed them. She was affectionate. She was that person. Walter was not an affectionate person. So he did not hug his children. He did not kiss his children. He did not let his children crawl in bed with him at night if they were scared. They slept with Missy every single night. So when that baby woke up crying at night, he got it, and he was not allowed to be affectionate with him. It's sad, but now that baby talks.
I was just about to ask, how's
He says a lot of words. He says a lot of words. He calls everybody mama, but he says blue. Well, he doesn't say whole words, but he talks a lot. I mean, you can pretty much understand him. He goes to speech. He goes to 3K.
Amazing.
He talks. He talks a lot. He was potty trained before he talked. Potty trained. He lost his nook. Yeah, he's an amazing little boy.
At some point,
Emmett,
you're going to say to me that he won't shut up now.
yeah,
he's gonna catch right up, and then you're gonna think, oh,
right.
he won't stop.
Right. And Emmett is a whole different child. Emmett was sassy when he came. Emmett was destructive. Emmett was hit his teachers. Emmett called them names. When Emmett first came to my house, I think the day after he came, he slapped me across the face like a grown man would slap a woman. This is how I know Walter abused my daughter. He slapped me across the face and told me, "You fucking."
Oh.
Yeah. Emmett, I don't know. I sat on the floor in the middle of my living room floor and held him while he screamed. I told him, "You will do this timeout." And I cried. He cried. He now knows how to do a timeout. You will not call me those names. You will not talk to me like he talked to your mother. Because them are learned words. He did not learn that from YouTube.
No.
No.
That's from behavior.
Yeah. He would call me. He's called my daughter a effing bitch, I think, or he's called somebody one. He's called me one. One day he got on the school bus and said goodbye, bitch, just like it was like normal words. Goodbye, bitch. Emmett, that's not what you say when you leave. Sometimes he just talks like that. My words he learned.
Yeah.
But
has he unlearned them now? In a sense that he knows not to say them?
Yep. He does not say them. He does not hit no more. He doesn't. I mean, he does take ADD, ADHD medicine too, but he has learned the difference between throwing temper tantrums. He's learned the difference between respect. He has learned you don't act like that. You do not act like that.
What about schooling? How's he doing?
He is doing marvelous in school. He is. He had an aide. Yep, he has an aide, but now he might not have to have an aide no more. We have an IEP on December 1st. We have his IEP, and then we'll find out. But I tell him every single day when he comes home, he has a behavioral paper that says in every class how he does. I tell him, Emmett, your mom would be so proud of you. Your mom would be so proud of you. I am so proud of you. And Emmett, you need to be like your mom. Who would your mom want you to be like? And who would she not want you to be like? And he'll say, Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I say to him, he'll say to me sometimes, Grandma, if she wouldn't have married him, she'd still be here. Emmett, if she wouldn't have married him, she wouldn't have you.
Yeah.
And the best part of you, or the best part of your mom and Walter is you and Avante. But Walter also held that gun to Avante and to Emmett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how long did it take for Emmett to start talking to you about what he went through that day?
I listened to him say it in therapy. When we went to trauma therapy, he would say it in trauma therapy.
So he wouldn't talk to you about it. He would talk to the therapist.
He would talk to the therapist about it. And he talked to me a little bit about it, but he doesn't like to make me cry, he says.
Oh,
because a lot of it, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The fact that the thing is that his childhood, his innocence has been taken from him already. He's 7. He was 6.
He's 7. Yeah.
6 when it was taken from him. He shouldn't, and he's protecting you, and he shouldn't have to think that way.
No, and he tells me a while ago that he would sneak in his mouth. He's very sneaky. He is very sneaky and quiet. That I could sneak in my mom's room, Grandma, at night, and she would be crying with her head under the pillow, and she didn't know, but I was checking to make sure she was okay.
Mm.
And Emmett, she didn't know you were in there. Well, no, because she would have told me then to get in bed, and she would have quit crying. But sometimes you just need to cry. Yeah. And the other day, I mean, it's kind of scary. He was at my daughter's house, and he had some. I mean, some of their, they have quite a few of their toys now because at first all her stuff was taken to storage. He brought a knife out of his Legos, not knowing my daughter must have hid a knife in his Legos. So she must have been kind of scared.
I think she probably just didn't want to tell you.
Yeah, she just did. I don't know. I think she was
Protecting
scared.
you in a sense.
She was protecting me. I think, really, honestly, when I think about this, is that she thinks that I would have hurt Walter, and then what would have happened?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But on my worst days, when I miss Misty so much, I tell my counselor, I think that not that it's justified, not that it's okay that Walter killed Missy, because it's never going to be okay. I would never forgive Walter for what he did. But by him, what he did and killing himself, they saved Emmett. Emmett will be a better person.
I was about to say that there are two paths that those boys could go down. And it's a true testament to you being such an amazing person that you have showered them with love and so much care that they clearly need, that Emmett sounds like such a sweet and caring boy who teachers probably knew that there was something going on and were very frustrated with him and his behavior, but that was just him having all of this emotion that he shouldn't have needed to have.
Right.
I think that there's amazing things in the future for both of them because of you. A huge part of that is because of you. You've given them so much.
Yeah.
They're very, very lucky.
I'm lucky to have him. I'm very thankful that he didn't hurt them.
Obviously, the media was a lot, especially with how quickly they were posting. Did you deal with any negativity in the media or social media because of what happened?
Just from Walter's family.
Did the police offer any support afterwards? Any information on victims, counselling or anything like that?
Yeah, the police offered a lot of support, I guess, afterwards. They have Officer Like is his name. I talked to him afterwards. He said I can call him anytime, even if I just want to vent, even if I just want to call him and cry on the phone, I can call him and cry. And he just gave the boys names to, I don't know if it's another officer or whoever called me the other night because they're gonna adopt the boys for Christmas. I think the Green Bay Police did what they could do, and they did offer a lot of support.
That's good. Did you get lots of community support as well?
I did get a lot of community support from our community. I got a lot of support through a GoFundMe. I got a lot of support through friends in my community, and yeah, a lot of Missy's friends supported me and have supported me. Yeah. And Missy did a lot of wonderful things. I mean, she had Avante. She didn't breastfeed her children. She pumped, but I forget, I didn't talk to Missy much when she had Avante because Walter moved her from Wausau to Wisconsin Rapids, which I don't quite know why they moved there, but whatever, he moved her. But she pumped, and then she donated breast milk to like 2 moms that couldn't pump for their own babies.
That's amazing.
That she pumped that much milk. And those moms have reached out and told me how wonderful she was. And they always thought there was something up when they went there because Missy was kind of quiet. And they always thought, he was they just wish they would, but what do? You can't really ask somebody, oh, by the way, is there something up with your life?
So aside from your 2 beautiful grandsons, what do you hope that Missy's legacy will be?
I hope it just saves somebody else's life, is what I really hope. if it even saves one person.
And in saying that, I want to make note that if anyone out there needs the help,
Yeah,
there
I
is
just
help.
hope
There
they
is help
tell.
out there.
Yeah, and I hope instead of just going to the courts and I mean, Missy went to the courts. Missy went to the police. Missy went to a Golden House, but they need to tell their family or friends or somebody that
Yeah.
listens. And if that person don't listen, go to somebody else and tell them until somebody listens. Keep telling, because I wish she would have told me or told her sister. Because I mean, her sister feels really bad, and I feel really bad for her sister because like her sister lived in Florida. Her sister don't have kids. Her sister was living on a boat, living the life. And when she said, "I'm at Golden House," her sister said, "Well, you think Walter's gonna kill you, Missy?" And Shelly's like, "No, Mom, really? I didn't think that he was going to." Yeah, well, none of us did, Shelly.
No, because we don't think like that.
No.
It's not, yeah, there's a lot of, I think, survivor guilt that happens
Right.
for everyone left behind.
I think the only thing they could have done is maybe help with counseling for like her sister. They don't help with that for the other survivors. They would offer it to me, to Emmett, to
Yeah.
Avante. He don't even talk hardly, people.
Is there anything else you want to add about Missy or about the situation?
I think Missy stayed with him, and I think Missy really thought that she could help Walter. That's the sad part. I think she was really trying to help him.
Yep.
Because he didn't have support from his family, which is sad. I mean, and not maybe that his family, I don't know. She did ask him to support him, but maybe Walter didn't always answer the phone when they tried calling him either. But I think Missy just thought she could help Walter. I don't know.
I mean, she wanted, that's what she wanted her calling to be.
And I also think that Missy now Missy did not Missy one time told me when she was at Golden House, I said, "Missy, does he physically abuse you? You can tell me." And she hesitated and was crying. No, no, well, Mom, she didn't say no. She said, "Mom, I can't, Mom, he has nothing. I've already divorced him. He's going to lose his kids. He's going to lose me. He's lost his family. He's going to lose our family. He's not going to have nothing besides a job." Well, I'm thinking to myself, Missy, what the hell does that have to do with anything? But honestly, I think that he did physically abuse Missy. I don't think Missy would say it because he filmed weddings for a living. And if Missy would have said he physically abused her, how could he be a wedding filmer?
But even taking like physical abuse aside, coercive control is not even touching someone, and it's just as debilitating to the person.
But I think they would have gave her the restraining order if she would have said that he physically abused her, is what they were
So
trying
that's
to say.
that's the problem, and
That's a problem with our world.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think you should have to physically,
no.
she still should have got a restraining order. I mean, come on, people.
So here in Australia, they're passing laws now to make coercive control just as punishable as physical abuse. We had that case that I think we've spoken about, the Hannah case, where he didn't lay a hand on her, but he was responsible for her job, her finances, what she wore, what she ate, how she looked.
See, and Walter was very controlling over even her clothes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, when she lived here, he would send her these clothes with these big apples on her pants. I'm like, Missy, what the hell are you wearing those for? Oh, Walter sent them to me. Well, whatever. But I know when she was at Golden House, like she bought a bunch of stuff with her taxes and had it shipped here because she didn't want it shipped to, the women's shelter. And she bought all new clothes. Well, her sister's wearing them now because they weren't that old. She bought all new clothes because he was that controlling. Yeah, he controlled what they wore.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that in the last couple of years, I have noticed that people are starting to talk more about coercive control, and they're going to start passing more laws about it, making it more aware. I mean, in Australia, we've just had, in the last couple of weeks, a new our Prime Minister has put into effect that you can now have 10 days paid leave for domestic abuse. So if you need to flee from a domestic abuse situation, you've got 10 days paid leave. So I'm
That's
hoping
nice.
it's amazing. I'm hoping
Right.
our governments, all governments around the world, this happens everywhere, that they start to sort of take note that it's not just physical violence. It's
Right.
there's so much
And
more.
Missy's bosses even put her in they have rentals. I mean, Missy's bosses were also her landlord. They put her in a rental place that they rent to people that come for Packer games and stuff, big football games here. They put her in one of those before she went to the Golden House. They hid her out in one of those because Walter was following her around.
What amazing bosses.
Their bosses were amazing. Her bosses were amazing. She
Incredible.
confided a lot in her boss. And Rachel said, like, Missy would smile, be crying at work, but yet smiling at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be bawling her eyes out, but yet smiling because she was trying to like hold it together, but yet her life was falling apart.
She was very strong.
Yeah, I don't quite get it.
I
But
do. I think that she didn't want to bother anyone, it sounds like.
right.
I don't want to bother you. I can deal with it myself.
Yeah, she thought she could do it all herself. I'm sure she really thought she could, like she had it under control.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
And thank you.
All right, take care.
Yep, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
In the next episode, we learn about the new information we gathered through the police reports and the transcript of the 911 call. To make sure that you're notified of when the next episode is uploaded, please subscribe and click the bell notification, and that will let you know when the video is out. Until next time, bye for now.